year. Both teams back in the playoffs after prolonged absences. Phoenix just wiping away Seattle in 2 straight games. San Antonio had to go to an exciting 3rd game to get rid of Sacramento, and they did that by winning by 2 points. Pam, we're joined by Carolyn Peck. Heather Cox will join us shortly. And the Phoenix Mercury in the playoffs, and really all season long, Carolyn, doing it with the big 3, not just Diana Taurasi, but throwing Cappie Pondexter and Penny Taylor.
Well, those 3 are getting it done. Seattle Storm had no answer for these 3. They averaged over 20 points a game in the semifinals of this Eastern Conference. They are averaging 64 points a game. San Antonio's going to have to find a way to stop at least one of these 3.
And for the San Antonio Silver Stars, they had to go to those 3 games. Finally got rid of Sacramento, and it really was an exciting finish right here in this building.
It absolutely was. And it's because of, I think, Becky Hammon. She does a good job, and it led by 3 reasons. She has good vision, she creates great angles and perfect timing, and she did so by finding VJ down low in order to win that 3rd game.
Boy, threading the needle with that bounce pass, so they get rid of Sacramento, and really both teams have a lot of new faces this year. For more on that, let's go to Heather Cox.
Indeed, Pam, neither Phoenix nor San Antonio made the playoffs a year ago, resulting in some drastic offseason changes for both franchises. San Antonio underwent the biggest turnaround. In fact, Dan Hughes brought in 6 new faces, including Becky Hammon, in one of the most talked about trades in WNBA history. Well, it worked. The 6 new faces have accounted for 62% of the team's scoring this year. On the other side, Phoenix got Kelly Mazzani from the dispersal draft and brought in Tangela Smith for Lindsey Harding, who coincidentally, guys, will be joining Nancy and I at halftime. Pam?
Lindsey Harding, the rookie out of Duke, is here as we look at our Toyota starting lineup, starting with the Phoenix Mercury up front, the dynamic Diana Taurasi, with Cappie Pondexter, Kelly Miller having the best shooting year of her career, Penny Taylor and Tangela Smith up front. And for San Antonio, Becky Hammon, certainly an MVP candidate, flanked by Helen Darling and Vicki Johnson. Sophia Young getting better every single game. And then there's Ruth Riley, the center, one of the new faces who came in a trade for Katie Feenstra in the offseason. Game 1 of the best-of-3 Western Conference Finals underway. Phoenix Mercury in their road purples. Tangela Smith over Ruth Riley, and she gets the first bucket of the night.
I think that's going to be a key matchup with Tangela Smith and Ruth Riley, as well as Sophia Young against Penny Taylor.
Over to Riley. That's her signature shot right from around the foul line, and she gets nothing but net. Phoenix loves to push the ball and score as Vicki Johnson gets in front of that pass and picks it off for the Silver Stars. Phoenix on the regular season averaging 89 points a game, over 90 points average in their 2-game sweep over Seattle. They go inside to Sophia Young. She is blanketed by Penny Taylor, and a jump ball is called.
I like Sophia Young, Pam. She has done a phenomenal job, and Sacramento had no answer for her inside. Look at that, 19.3 points per game, shooting 53%, and she's an undersized post player.
She had 26 in that game-clinching win against Sacramento a couple of days ago. Dan Hughes, her coach, says her potential is not just the sky is the limit. She says it's an open-air dome as Phoenix throws it away for the 2nd straight possession. And there is Coach Dan Hughes, has to be the leading contender for Coach of the Year in his 3rd season, and taking this team that was 13-21 a year ago into the playoffs.
Well, the turnaround and the changes that he made on his roster.
And there's that great potential. Sophia Young able to jump up and keep the ball alive. Skip pass over to Helen Darling, not a big offensive threat. And the ball gets away from her. Here we go. Taurasi to the right of Pondexter, but she could never get a handle on the ball. Johnson over the Young screen. And she gets another one. Becky Hammon quick to the hoop. No foul is called. And the race is on. Taurasi behind the back to Taylor, who scores and will go to the free throw line. That is a nice assist from Diana.
Diana Taurasi is a superstar. A superstar. It's not just about scoring points, but it's plays like that. She can find her teammates at the right time. She knows Penny Taylor's trailing behind her. Nice behind-the-back pass. Great assist by Diana Taurasi.
Diana's second on the team, averaging 4.3 assists during the regular season. And the three-point play by Taylor gives Phoenix the 5-2 lead.
You know, I don't think Phoenix gets enough credit for the turnovers that they force and able to push the ball in transition. They score a lot of buckets that way.
They force 17.5 turnovers per game. Becky Hammon's long-range shot is not there, and Sophia Young continues to clean up the glass. Hammon penetrates and puts it in. Becky's first bucket of the night.
She uses her body so well, finds those seams and is able to get to the basket. As is Penny Taylor, right back at him.
Boy, gets to the basket quickly. Penny has 5 already. Phoenix just pushes the ball up, and Diana Taurasi gets a lot of publicity, and rightly so, but Taylor has had a spectacular year, and that is a wonderful move by Young.
She was able to split both Penny Taylor and Tangela Smith.
Miss on the other end. Taylor's able to keep it alive. Kelly Miller up and in. Miller shooting 48% from the floor this year, had never been above 45% before this season.
Well, she's thrived in this offense that Paul Westhead has here for the Phoenix Mercury. She just looks more relaxed, I think, than on any other team that she's played on.
Shot clock down to 7. Riley. Darling left open for 3, and she hits it.
Dan Hughes loves Helen Darling. He had her when he coached the Cleveland Rockers. He said she may go 30%, but right when the timing gets tough, you can count on her to hit a basket.
She hit 4 of her 8 threes in the Sacramento series and hit her first one tonight with the shot clock winding down. Vicki Johnson over Taylor, well too strong. Did not hit the rim, so no reset on the shot clock, but Riley doesn't need any time for that.
San Antonio Stars are in a rhythm. They're peaking at the right time, playing well to start the game off.
First lead for San Antonio. Pondexter is fouled by Darling as she started her drive to the bucket. Paul Westhead in his second year in charge of Phoenix. And of course, he won a championship with the Lakers in 1980, and it sort of, with this offense he runs, took a while for this team to get used to it. Now they're used to it and they're thriving.
Well, and after going and watching this team practice, you can understand why some teams think it's chaos, but it's organized chaos. With the offensive sets that he has, there's so many different options that out of one offense. And I think that takes time, and you've got to have veteran experienced players to make reads and be able to fully benefit from each option.
And Diana Taurasi among those who are thriving this season. This team has won 13 of 14 overall, including the playoffs, and 7 straight, including the 2-game sweep over Seattle to get here. Hammon looks up at the shot clock. It is 6 now. Don't know if Darling notices it. Young shoots, and Pondexter from Rutgers University grabs the rebound. Miller, nice into Penny Taylor, who goes the other way to rid herself of Ruth Riley. Penny has 7 already.
I think this zone by Phoenix has really given San Antonio trouble. They're having to get deep into their shot clock.
3 ties already in this game. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, best of 3, Indiana and Detroit. Game 1 in the East tomorrow night. Shot clock at 2. Young uses her body, but it skips out. Taylor is fouled by Johnson, and Penny's going to be a little slow getting up.
Well, I think against this, what Phoenix Mercury is doing with their zone is they're taking away Sophia Young inside. She had to, the previous possession, take a shot up at the free throw line area, and when she goes inside, the defense is collapsing and paying a lot of attention to her.
She's 1 for 3 from the floor, but does have 4 rebounds, Sophia Young. 3 team fouls against San Antonio, none against Phoenix. Good defense by Young, and it doesn't matter. Taurasi just stepped back and put it in.
That was nice.
Oh my goodness.
That was nice.
Thought she had her bottled up, and Taurasi was able to step back, and boy, using all of that 6 feet. Good size, and needless to say, no conscience with her. She'll just throw it up there.
Well, she's got the confidence to make plays like that because it's not something new to her.
Riley inside, shot clock at 4, and Ruth has 6. Tied up again.
I like it when Ruth Riley uses her size, and especially using it inside.
Smith trying to out-quick her to the basket. Young coming over with great help defense. Sophia Young just headed her off at the pass.
That was good help. Sophia came over. Ruth Riley was in trouble, and Sophia closed it up.
Hammon back to Young. Oh, boy, Johnson was alone in the corner, and Miller was able to get a hand on it. 14 seconds left on the shot clock.
Well, check out Taurasi here. Sophia Young thinks, I've got you stopped, I've got you. Diana Taurasi says, But you have Ruth Riley that's using her size inside, and that's what the Stars need. 1, 2.
We are in San Antonio, off to a very good start. And before the game, Paul Westhead, who likes the up-tempo style, had this to say.
Run him, run him, run him, run him. Gotta win, let's go.
Well, this is exactly the way Phoenix has got it started off. They want to score early in transition. Push, push, push. I don't think that the Phoenix Mercury think that they can run too much. They can get the ball out without having to run any kind of offense. I think that that plays right into the philosophy that Paul Westhead likes.
Run, 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 and that they have done. 7 fast break points to none for Phoenix, which is right up their alley. They're shooting 60% from the floor. And still it's a tie ball game, so San Antonio sticking right with them. Shot clock, Becky Hammon barely gets it off, and it almost falls. The defensive sequence that time for the Mercury.
The shot clock, that's the 4th time that San Antonio has had to take a shot less than 5 seconds left in the shot clock.
Kelly Miller able to get a nifty shot off on the baseline. She has 4. 7th season out of the University of Georgia.
One of the things that San Antonio was taking too long to do is get into their offense. Running set in the half court. The shot clock's already down below 10.
Darling has hit 2 threes. Darling with 6. She's hit 6 of her last 10 threes. And Taurasi is called for the offensive foul.
Well, I think they called Kelly Miller for it. Moving screen on this handoff. Kind of gave a body block there to Helen Darling. Trying to screen off for Taurasi to come behind that screen to get open for a shot. I think Miller laid her out right there.
That is indeed on Miller. You saw Taurasi get her elbow up a little bit. But that was not the foul. The foul was indeed for the moving screen.
San Antonio is struggling to really find an answer. Rover defense the Phoenix Mercury are playing. Taurasi confuses them a little bit because she switches up the position that she plays in the middle.
Boy, Pondexter, quick as lightning, takes it in. Cappy's first basket. Averaging, like Taurasi and Penny Taylor, over 20 points per game in the playoffs. Kelly Schumacher will check in for Phoenix at the next whistle. Becky Hammon off the mark. Rebound battled for, and a fresh 24 for the Silver Stars.
Run the floor. You gotta run the floor with Taylor. Get there, Kelly, get there!
Both of our head coaches mic'd tonight.
Westhead still talking about running.
Oh, Ruth Riley stepping in. Ruth Riley with 8 of their 16 points. Another turnover. Vicki Johnson to Hammon.
Look, the travel!
Goes inside, and she traveled as she got inside. And Paul Westhead, you heard him calling for the travel, and he was right.
Kelly, 4 up.
Dan Hughes with his Beatles tie, big music fan of teams, or bands rather, that very few of his players are familiar with. Has the boot on the right foot, tore his Achilles tendon, and has been coaching in the boot. Told us today he hopes to get rid of it sometime next week.
Well, as animated as we saw him in the semifinals, he needs to keep that boot on to avoid re-injuring himself.
Until the playoffs are over, he needs to keep it going. Penny Taylor wipe off the 3. That's another moving screen violation on Kelly Miller as we head over to Heather Cox.
Well, how big of a music fan is Dan Hughes? He has a lifetime membership to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His favorite band is Styx. In fact, he knows the band members personally, and the Styx guys have been known to perform in Silver Stars t-shirts. Now that hobby carries over to his players. They often play Name That Tune after practice, and yes, he wears that lucky Beatles tie for every playoff game. But just how well-versed is he, guys? I think this says it all. Players joke that he knows more about Elvis than he does about his own wife.
Oh, wow. That's extreme. Taurasi for 3. Barely ripples the net. In fact, Vicky Carr was supposed to sing the national anthem today. Singer from the 60s. It must be him. Come on, Carolyn. You know that one?
I wasn't born until the late 60s.
You're not quite familiar, but Vicky has a little cough, so she was unable to perform. Kelly Mazzani has checked in 2 Penn State players. Mazzani against Darling. Shot clock again at 2, and Becky Hammon is able to put one in from long range. That was a long 2 for Becky. She's got 4. Taurasi answers, and no, it goes in and out. Miller gets the rebound. Taurasi hits the deck. Miller fadeaway, no good. Here come the Silver Stars, 3-on-3. Hammon wants it on the right wing. She gets it. Mazzani closes. Darling for her 3rd 3, leaves it short. And Miller has the ball go off her. No, they're going to say it was off of Helen Darling. Denise Brooks-Klauser working with Bob Trammell and Lisa Mattingly today. 5 ties and 6 lead changes already. What a game. And neither team has led by more than 3 points. Just what we expected here. In game 1, a couple of very potent offensive teams.
Well, I believe, Pam, that San Antonio, they really upped their defense in the semifinals against Sacramento. They were very aggressive coming off screens. They're forcing some turnovers where that's something that normally Phoenix benefits from.
Yeah, Phoenix got a couple of second looks at that. And then Pondexter fouls. In the meantime, that is her first. Phoenix averaging 98 points per game in the 2 playoff wins over Seattle. They won game 1, 101-84 in Seattle, the only road team to win so far in the playoffs, and then closed it out in Phoenix 95-89.
Well, Seattle tried to make a game of that, closing it there at the end of the first half, or the end of the second half in Phoenix.
Phoenix was able to hang on to win it. Penny Taylor has 7 so far. Ruth Riley 8 to lead San Antonio. We are in the home of the Alamo. An exciting first quarter. And at 20 apiece. Becky Hammon, believe it or not, had trouble driving when she was only 7.
I jumped in my dad's F-150, his stick shift truck, and threw a couple pillows behind me and went out on the highway to go meet them on the other side of the field. And got pulled over by a highway patrol, and then he then escorted me to my father and you know, asked whose kid is this, and my dad said, you know, hey, that's my girl, and he smiled and said, oh, my grandkids do it all the time, don't worry about it.
You have to remember, this is in South Dakota where you can legally drive at only 14. She was 7 years old, and we asked her, when did you drive again after this incident with the cop? She said, oh, about 2 hours later. So lesson learned, perhaps. But she was legally driving at 14 in South Dakota, a lot of rural areas. Kids have to get around farms and such. Diana Taurasi with the strip, but it goes right to Camilla Little, who just checked in.
Wow. Great hands by Camilla Little and terrific finish. Driving the car, Becky Hammon definitely has a license to drive to the basket.
Oh, my goodness.
You like that one?
I liked it. She likes to drive. She likes to also put up the big shots. Marie Ferdinand Harris off her hands. And the ball comes back to Phoenix, and Becky Hammon and company starting to get a little bit frustrated.
Well, Marie Ferdinand Harris is in the game. Bring her speed. She and Pondexter had a little collision down low.
Phoenix has missed its last 6 shots. Hammon tries to go in for the steal. That's a great pass, Taylor to Schumacher, but it's knocked away. Schumacher, Mazzanti, and off the bench.
Seattle was able to close the lead in the second half of game 2 on Phoenix when Kelly Schumacher was inside.
Becky Hammon's first 3. Coming into this game, she had hit 11 of 20 in the playoffs, and Kelly Mazzani, there's your all-time leading scorer in the history of the Big Ten, men or women, and that's one way she did it with that spot-up 3 at Penn State.
Well, in transition, you got to find the shooters. San Antonio needs to send at least 2 people back when the shot goes up to get back to defend the shooters in transition.
Diana Taurasi's first foul.
How do you know why players get upset? Gonna call a little touch foul.
Paul Westhead upset about what he considers to be a touch foul. Detroit and Indiana, game 1 Friday night. Coming your way from Indianapolis on ESPN2 tomorrow. Game 2 of this series Saturday night on NBA TV. And Phoenix, game 3 if necessary, will be on ESPN2 Sunday. Oh, and that's a block. Tangela Smith getting in there. Again, the shot clock was winding down. Pondexter full speed. Mazzani on the wing, can't leave her open, but she misfires and gets the rebound inside to Schumacher, who puts it in.
Well, Sophia got her hands on the ball, thought she was deflecting it out to her own teammate, actually went right back to Kelly Mazzani.
So one Kelly to the other, Mazzani to Schumacher. And we're tied up yet again. Another turnover. Mazzani to the right of Pondexter, but she's going to take it in, draw the foul from Hammon, and has an opportunity for the three-point play.
Well, it's with the defense. The defense is really giving San Antonio a lot of trouble. You look, Taurasi has got great anticipation skills. She sees the ball, and then it leads right into the transition basket. Cappy Pondexter, she's strong, she's going to finish, and she gives herself an opportunity to complete a three-point play.
First foul on Becky Hammon. Pondexter 10 for 10 for Phoenix from the line, a new playoff record in game 2 of that series win over Seattle. And hits the first one. Phoenix out now to a 28-25 lead. Phoenix has scored the last 8 points of this game. And Vicky Johnson makes that history with a 3. Johnson, one of the original players in the WNBA in her 11th season out of Louisiana Tech. Second year here with San Antonio.
Dan Hughes said she is the type of player that you want on your team this time of year. She's just got great poise, great confidence, and knows what it is to play for a WNBA championship.
Got to a lot of WNBA finals with the Liberty. Little, that's a quick move around Schumacher, and she draws the foul.
I think that San Antonio has found an answer for the zone. You've got to penetrate and pitch. You make 2 collapse on you, and then when you can kick out to a shooter like Vicky Johnson, that'll open up things for you. When the zone has to concentrate on the shooters outside, that'll create opportunities for Sophia Young inside.
Camille Little, the rookie from North Carolina, taken in the second round, 17th overall in this past draft. And she hit San Antonio's first free throw attempt of this game.
She really has developed as the year has gone on, being able to finish better inside. She gives them great rebounding.
Averaging 4.5 per game during the regular season, 4-time All-ACC performer in Chapel Hill. And San Antonio back on top. Pondexter missing strong. Shauna Crossley is in for the Silver Stars, along with Marie Ferdinand Harris, Camille Little, Sophia Young, and Vicky Johnson, the only 2 starters on the floor right now. Oh, nice pass, Vicky Johnson. There's that veteran savvy.
Did a great job. When you have Shauna Crossley on the floor, it opens up things in the back, and that allows for a lot of different seams to be parted inside.
And now Johnson throwing it up and drawing the foul. Belinda Snell checking in for Phoenix.
Well, when you look and you know that Shauna Crossley's down here in the corner, defense is concentrating on everybody up top, and Marie Ferdinand is able to drop down low. Similar thing happened at the end of game 3, but that was Vicky Johnson down low on the corner.
Cappy Pondexter called for a second personal foul, and that sends Johnson to the line. Rims out, 82% free throw shooter during the regular year. And only one of 3 WNBA players in history with 3,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 750 assists. And you see leading the playoffs with 6 assists per game this year. VJ now has 4. A game of runs, Phoenix on an 8-0 run, or San Antonio on an 8-0 run. And that is stopped by Tangela Smith. Top of the key, hits a 3.
Well, and everybody questioned the trade that was made for Tangela Smith, giving up the first-round pick that ended up being Lindsey Harding. But I think that was a good decision. She fits perfectly into this Phoenix system.
Long shot, in and out. Ferdinand Harris had it halfway down. Taylor with the rebound. Taurasi is not on the floor. Nice pass to Smith, right down the middle. Well, Tangela scored the last 5 points.
Well, Tangela Smith has just been tremendous, a great asset for the Phoenix Mercury. It's because she can do that right there. Knock down the three. And then inside, running the floor, Tangela Smith is the answer for the Phoenix Mercury. Are you all making any adjustments to cover her?
Yeah, I think our focus right now, we started off wanting to lay off her a little bit, but right now we just need to focus on the ball. I mean, we can't just focus on one player, Becky. Everybody's a threat at this level, you know, so we just need to focus on each player and contain the ball.
And then also, the Mercury have 6 turnovers already. What's that all about?
I don't know if it was nerves or what, but that's something we stressed in, you know, in the timeout is that shoot the ball. We'd rather have shots than turnovers. I know we're an up-tempo team, and, you know, we've been doing very well this year without getting turnovers, and we want to continue doing the same thing, shoot the ball.
Well, Bridget, thanks so much for being with us. I've heard Paul Westhead say, put it up before you turn it over.
And that's what we do.
Thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you.
Helen Darling just called for her 2nd foul. Fast break points in this game because they do like to run and run often. 18-1 in favor of Phoenix. Taylor came down, but they didn't call her for the travel. And Penny Taylor now has 9.
And I think Dan Hughes agreed with you, thought that was a travel. Got a little extra hop in there.
Darling again from 3, already has a couple of them, but she's missed her last 2 from long range. Miller working against Darling, has the height advantage and draws the foul. That's 3 on Helen Darling as we go over to Heather Cox, who was listening in on the huddle.
And Pam, you talk about the fact that Phoenix has that 18-1 advantage in fast break points. So no surprise that Dan Hughes talked all defense all the time during that last timeout, confirming who's releasing to get back in every single scenario, and then stating the obvious. He said you can't guard somebody that's already being guarded. Find your man. That time Helen Darling was able to, but got caught up with the foul.
Well, and Heather, you're exactly right. A few possessions before, Ruth Riley got caught out, sneaking out to Snelly, and that opened up Tangela Smith going right down the middle in transition.
With the free throws, Phoenix takes the 4-point lead. Helen Darling is out there with 3 personal fouls. Gets 6 in the WNBA. Hammon off the Darling screen, off the mark, and Ferdinand Harris is able to get in there and knock it away from Tangela Smith. More games coming your way tomorrow night on ESPN2. Game 1 of the Eastern Finals, Detroit at Indiana, 8 Eastern time. NBA TV Saturday. This Western Conference Game 2 in Phoenix at 7 Eastern on ABC. Eastern Conference number 2. Indiana's at Detroit at 1 Eastern. And ESPN2 later Sunday if necessary. Game 3 of the Western Finals with Carolyn Peck on the call. And Heather Cox and Dave Pash. That's a good crew. It's an improvement for you.
Step up, anything to improve the game. That's big.
Oh,
that's big. Right there, right at Penny Taylor.
Sophia with 4, continuing to get better almost every time you see her. She's better. Smith and Taurasi hit it into each other. That's good recovery by Becky Hammon to get in the way because Taurasi looked like she had a bullet pass in there for 2. 13 seconds left on the shot clock, 4 minutes left to go in the first half. Trying to lob inside to Taurasi, and it works out, at least momentarily, until Snell missed the shot, and a foul on Phoenix on the follow. Kelly Miller whistled for her third personal foul, so 3 on her and 3 on Helen Darling for the other team. And Cappy comes in, Miller sits down with the 3.
Well, she got 2 quick fouls, setting offensive screens, and then that time getting called down low.
Phoenix leading San Antonio 37-35, game 1 of this best-of-3 series. The winner of the series plays the winner of Indiana-Detroit for the title. Riley for 3 and hits it. Ruth Riley hit only 19% of her threes during the regular season. She's got 11 already tonight. Taylor can't answer. Hammon, the smallest player on the floor, boards it.
What Phoenix is trying to do is keep the ball out of the hands of Becky Hammon, but in doing so, Ruth Riley has really stepped up big.
Boy, Young with the miss and then tries to save it in bounds. And Sophia Young, who's only been playing basketball since she was 15, grew up in the Caribbean, and they give a lot of credit to Olaf Lang, one of the assistants for San Antonio, who's been working with her, and she really is getting better now in her second season of Pro Bowl. Here's Olaf.
Yeah, Dan Hughes gives him a lot of credit for the individual instruction that he gives these players, and especially with Sophia Young, working with her and knowing that the upside that she has is not even begun to be tapped.
Zanny a bit too strong. Taurasi in for the board and gets fouled. Boy, Diana Taurasi, big, strong, ornery, determined, equals really good. Wow. Game coming up, halftime very soon, and Nancy Lieberman's going to be here.
We saw her earlier, Pam, a star for the American Gladiators. She will be with us at halftime, along with Lindsey Harding, point guard of the Minnesota Lynx.
Nancy.
You gladiator, you.
You were our lead-in, Nancy. That gave us the ratings pop that we needed for this game. Nancy Lieberman as a gladiator. Those people, by the way, are crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And not necessarily that Nancy is, but you know, there was some people there. They had a lot of muscles, man.
That was just last year, wasn't it?
I believe it was. It looks that way. Nancy hasn't aged a bit.
Not a bit.
I, on the other hand, Diana Taurasi has 7, and Phoenix has retaken the lead. Glad to have Lindsey Harding with us coming up at halftime. Becky Hammon a little bit off the mark. Becky, we talked to her earlier today. She's dealing with a little upper respiratory problem, a head cold. But out there playing through it. Mazzanti to Young. And Vicki Johnson's looking to run.
She's got to find Shauna Crosley. Yeah.
She's the shooter.
When Ruth Riley comes to the high post, she's got to face up and be a threat to score. That'll close things up. That'll open up things for the shooters on the perimeter. Look at that.
Sophia Young right there. That was a nice little ball fake by Hammon. Went in on the drive. And Sophia Young is always around the basketball.
It is a nice drive by Becky Hammon. Driving to the baseline. Tries to get the layup, but watch Sophia Young work the boards. Tangela Smith doesn't even get turned around and going up and over Penny Taylor.
Sophia Young with 10 rebounds already in this game. And Dan Young, one thing he said about her, just, you know, beaming when he talks about Sophia Young, says he has never seen a satisfied look on her face. She's always working, wants to get better. And that, you know, as an old head coach, a former head coach, I should say, you gotta love that when you see that with your kids. They want to get better and go in there and they put in the time.
Well, you love that because that player is developing to get better, but also she sets a good example for the other players on her team.
Terrific work ethic for Sophia Young. 10 ties, 13 lead changes. Oh, and right back at you is Cappy Pondexter.
Wow, that was nice.
Ooh, Cappy has 7, and there's your 14th lead change. Crossley. Oh, boy, Sophia again is able to get in there and smart enough to not to try to catch it and to know that Vicki Johnson is over there in the corner.
She is relentless on the board.
That's a great matchup. Taylor guarding Young. Riley with the shot clock at 8. Ruth taking it right to Smith, wanting the foul, not getting it.
Well, but I like that she stayed aggressive. She has to stay offensive-minded.
Oh! Taurasi with the big smile as she banks it in.
The bank is open.
And she knows whether you bank it or you swish it, it's all the same. It's a 3.
Thinks she knows she didn't call that one.
No. Crossley tries to answer in and out. Young again with the rebound. And right back in.
That's what Sacramento did not have an answer for.
Sophia Young, 8 points, 12 rebounds.
Phoenix is going to try to go in isolation.
Right back to Taurasi. This time she doesn't need the backboard. Such a quick release on that shot.
That's a heads-up play by Pondexter. She knows that Taurasi's hitting. You go to or you find her anytime she can get open.
13 for Diana Taurasi. Young splits the middle. So much skill for the second-year player out of Baylor, and she has her double-double here in the first half. 10 points, 13 boards.
The clock ran. How did that happen?
10 points and 12 boards actually for Sophia, and here is a D off the glass.
Well, she finds it early in transition. I don't know if she called this, Pam, but she did find the right ankle high off the square. She knows she got lucky on that one.
And Taurasi is so much fun to watch. She still is like a little kid out there. Loves to play ball, loves to show you up, and we've got a good one going here with the Mercury up by 3. Phoenix leading the Silver Stars 47-44. About 33 seconds left to go in the first half. Paul Westhead talking to his team, and among those here in attendance, Taj McWilliams-Franklin, a great veteran for now the Los Angeles Sparks. She definitely is an athlete. Her oldest daughter sitting next to her husband, and her youngest daughter all here in a row.
It is a family affair.
And this has been quite a playoffs already. Phoenix, the only team to win on the road. Game 1 of their semifinal series against Seattle. 3 overtime games already ties a postseason record, and 5 games already decided by 5 points or less. And one of those overtime games was that triple overtimer in Connecticut. Connecticut's only win over Indiana.
It has been an exciting playoff series. When you look at what New York did in the series with Detroit, took it down to the wire in the last 2 games of that 3-game series.
Sophia Young has already set a new playoff record in the WNBA, 7 offensive rebounds and a half.
Well, she's not finished.
Yeah, Chastity Melvin had 6 for the Mystics last couple years ago. Mazzanti from outside as she falls down. They have got some shooters. They can run the floor, and the lead has been extended to 6. Biggest lead of the night. Game was tied after 1 quarter. Johnson, can she answer Mazzanti? She does indeed.
That was, you got to compliment Ruth Riley on that screen, getting VJ.
See, leading the way for Phoenix, 3 of 4 from 3-point range. Becky Hammon struggling from the floor. 3 of 10 just overall, 1 for 6 from 3, now 1 for 7 as she misses her first shot.
Well, they tried to get her involved early.
And then Diana gets behind everybody to score her 15th point of the night. Kelly Miller with yet another assist. Kelly had 6 points in the first half.
And Donovan from the Seattle Storm talked about not only does Phoenix benefit from turnovers, but also missed shots. You've got to make sure that you take good shots, give yourself an opportunity to rebound, or at least get back in transition defense.
Phoenix did shoot 50% from the floor in the first half, as Diana Taurasi is called for the foul. Pam Ward along here with Carolyn Peck, and Heather Cox is with us as well. So Phoenix right now has the advantage. What does San Antonio have to do to catch up?
Well, they've got to get Becky Hammon involved offensively. She's got to make shots. In order to stay in the game, they've got to stay on the offensive boards. They have Sophia Young, and that's a good thing right now. And then they've got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball.
Sophia Young, in fact, with a WNBA playoff record, 7 offensive rebounds in the first half. And Sophia hits her first free throw. She has only 2 offensive rebounds from the game record for most offensive rebounds in the playoffs. And that was set by Chastity Melvin in Boston last year. And Becky Hammon, being aggressive, heads to the free throw line after Penny Taylor fouls her. That's 2 on Penny. So Becky Hammon coming into this game red hot from outside. 11 for 20 from 3, so that's 55% in the 3-game series win against Sacramento. But again, now just 1 for 7 from outside the arc in this game. But she is just about automatic, a 93% free throw shooter during the regular season, and hits her first of 2.
Well, as well as she's been shooting the ball, she doesn't need to stop shooting.
Missed the second free throw, very unusual. Diana Taurasi has scored 8 of the last 11 points for the Mercury, and she has the basketball now. Bounce passing over to Pondexter, in and out. Mickey Johnson cannot hold on to it. And a fresh 24 for Phoenix.
42, 42, good screen, Chance.
Phoenix did take 3 of 4 against San Antonio in the regular season, including both games here in San Antonio. Angela Smith leaves it well short, but gets her own rebound. Third opportunity down, this trip down the floor, and Pondexter makes him pay with the 3.
And that hurts you when you miss an opportunity to get the defensive rebound. Phoenix gets the offensive rebound and then benefits to a 3-point shot.
Pondexter with the 3. Oh, so boy, Sophia Young speechless. What a nice step through. 13 points for Sophia Young. Penny Taylor inside, banks it right home. 11 points for the Aussie, who had 5 30-point games this season.
Well, San Antonio's not doing a good job of playing defense early. That's one of the things Dan Hughes talked about. You've got to make your transition defense transition into half-court defense without having to get set.
Mercury up by a half dozen points. Taylor and now Miller helping out on Young. Hammon left open for 3 and drains it with 1 second left on the shot clock.
And that's got to happen if Phoenix Mercury are going to double down low on Sophia Young. Becky Hammon's got to step into the open gap. Well, it's going to take 2 people, Pam, to guard Sophia Young. She does a good job of splitting the defense there. Nice pivot move. Not bad for somebody who didn't start playing until they're 15. And then when the double team comes down, Becky Hammon heads up play, stepping right into the open slot and able to knock down the 3.
Sophia Young called for her second personal foul. That sends Penny Taylor to the free throw line. Taylor in her 3rd season on that Australian national team that won the World Championships in 2006. The Aussies always getting so close, losing to the U.S. in gold medal games over the years, silver medal games in the Olympics, and Warren Jackson and company so happy to finally bring one home in the Worlds. And Penny Taylor, actually the MVP of that team.
She was the MVP of the World Championship game, sure was.
And that's pretty good when you got somebody named Warren Jackson on your team and you're the MVP. She's a wonderful player. And Vicki Johnson, the veteran, nailing it from the baseline. She's into doubles with 10.
San Antonio doing a good job keeping the post on the ball side block. That makes the back of that zone have to make a decision of whether to cover out or cover in.
Turnover as they get Pondexter for literally turning the ball over in her hand. And San Antonio only down by 3. Sandy Brondello and Dan Hughes on the bench. Phoenix did not turn the ball over at all in the second quarter. And they have already done that here in the 3rd. Good crowd in San Antonio, getting into it now. Oh, Tangela Smith stepping right in front of Sophia Young to force a turnover. Pondexter over Hammon. And Ruth Riley in perfect position in front of Smith for the rebound. 1-on-2, Johnson gonna take it right to Taurasi. And it doesn't fall. And racehorse basketball, Tangela Smith finishes on the other end and will have a chance at a 3-point play.
And the Phoenix Mercury, they practice that transition every day. They practiced it yesterday, they practiced it in shoot around this morning of advancing the basketball, heads up as soon as you catch it. Check to see if there's someone out in front.
And check this out, fast break points as Ruth Riley's called for her 2nd foul. Phoenix 29 fast break points to 1 for San Antonio.
They get the ball out and up the floor faster than anybody in the WNBA.
Now 30-1 with that free throw. The lead is extended to 6, but Hammon cuts it right down to 4. Becky already with 6 points here in the second half, including a 3. Penny Taylor goes up and again goes to the free throw line.
Pam, look how quickly Phoenix does a good job of getting the ball up the floor. Kelly Miller never looked to put the ball down on the floor to dribble. It was as soon as she caught it, heads up, and was able to advance the ball down the floor.
Ruth Riley called for 2 quick ones. She now has 3 as Taylor misses the free throw. Paul Westhead, well known, especially at Loyola Marymount, for just his run and gun style of basketball, and not an offense that a team can grasp right away. They are certainly thriving in this offense now in their 2nd year under the coach. Taylor follows the first miss of the game from the line for the Mercury with the make. They were 9 for 9 as a team. And the lead is 4. Make it 5. Shot clock at 10. Hammon taking it right to Pondexter, and Taylor blocks it away.
Taylor was down there waiting on her. Again, they're pushing the ball up quick in transition, and Paul Westhead says, put the ball up before you turn it over.
That's his philosophy. A missed shot is better than a turnover, and they got the missed shot on that possession. Hammon being guarded by the much taller Taurasi. Riley popping out off the mark, and Miller rebounds and goes. You can hear Paul Westhead saying go as soon as they get the basketball. That's the word, the operative word. Riley with 3 fouls, able to block Smith's shot and not pick up her fourth. Good job.
Good defense there.
Ruth Riley's so smart. Olympic gold medal, national championship at Notre Dame, WNBA titles with Detroit. Hammon off the curl, can't get it to fall, and Taylor rings in the miss. Taurasi bounce pass to Smith, and the ball goes out of bounds. Phoenix holds onto it with 17 seconds left on the shot clock. Follow along on WNBA.com throughout the postseason for player blogs, all-access videos, and terrific photos. Also, expert analysis from Carolyn Peck. And players like Diana Taurasi and Sophia Young who cover the excitement of the WNBA playoffs, all at WNBA.com. Doris Burke also has expert analysis.
She has great expert analysis.
Yeah.
Terrific blog. I enjoy reading it. I get a lot of good information from
Is that
her.
where you get information for your blog?
I do.
All of that on WNBA.com. And you know it's interesting, that's a walk that they got her. Anything Diana Taurasi writes is going to be interesting. Before the game, she was on ESPN News as Dee takes a break here, and one of the questions was, if you weren't a basketball player, what would you be? She said, I always wanted to be a dentist because they work 3 days a week and drive BMWs. That was her response. She is a piece of work.
I want to know what dentist she goes to.
Shot clock again inside of 10 seconds. Hammon drives and puts it in. Becky with 15. And the lead is trimmed to 3. She has scored the last 4 for San Antonio, but Miller puts one right back up and in. Assist to Mazzani.
They got a mix-up there on the defense. Switched on the on-ball screen, left Kelly Miller open down low.
Miller really thriving in this offense this year. A lot of confidence. Player who has struggled with her confidence throughout her career. Marie Ferdinand Harris gets her own miss, puts it up, and will shoot 2 free throws. Got a 5-point game here. When we return, we will talk to the man in the Beatles tie and the leading candidate for Coach of the Year, Dan, your community, and are committed to helping young people learn the importance of education. Helen Darling, the team spokesperson for the Read to Achieve program, recently published a children's book, Hide and Seek Monday. Spent time sharing the story with some young fans at the AT&T Center. WNBA cares, leading, inspiring, and creating positive change. And if anybody knows how to write a kid's book, I would say it's the mother of triplets. Helen's triplets, now 5 years old.
Absolutely. She's got 1 girl and 2 little boys, and they're 5 years old.
And we are joined now by her head coach, Dan Hughes, with Carolyn Peck.
And Coach Hughes in the first half had trouble in transition. Phoenix was scoring in transition. What adjustments did you make?
Well, basically, you're going to see us try to match, even if it's not an ideal match. We got to create more 5-on-5 play. And sometimes the urgency's got to be to match as opposed to the correct match. So we're just trying to create more of a 5-on-5 game in transition.
Well, and offensively, I know that you like to go to Sophia Young early. You've pulled her away, looks like, up to the free throw line and sneaking in people on the backside.
Phoenix didn't listen. But yeah, we are.
I'm sorry.
To be honest with you, we're trying to get her on the move, Carolyn. And we think we can handle it on the move. We're getting her in between spots, in between defenders, where we can cause 2 on her and then play out of that double team.
Well, Coach Hughes, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
Dan Hughes, great access with the head coach, and he should be WNBA Coach of the Year, also the executive. And he's playing hurt, folks. Tore that Achilles tendon and has been in that boot. And really done a wonderful job, Carolyn, of bringing in the 6 new players, blending them all together, and taking this team to the playoffs for the first time since they moved from Utah.
Well, and they are second in game of improvement from 06 to 07, +7 this year. And I think it has a lot to do with his movement of players and the trades and changes and additions that he made in the offseason.
They were only 13 and 21 last year as Pondexter hits 1 of 2. And Becky Hammon, Helen Darling, Ruth Riley, among the new players he brought in, said he always wanted to get Ruth Riley and was thrilled to finally be able to trade for her from Detroit, trading Katie Feenstra up north. 4-point ball game. Hammon, nice pass inside to Ferdinand Harris, who gives it up to Sophia Young for the bucket.
Well, I didn't mean to give away his secrets, but it does a good job of Sophia Young attracts so much attention. Pull her away from the basket, and then you can sneak cutters along that baseline.
I'm feeling they notice that she's being pulled away as well as Ferdinand Harris kicks it away as they were trying to get it to Tangela Smith down low. Shot clock resets to 14 as Diana Taurasi comes back in. Here is that turnover for San Antonio.
Well, in the addition of bringing in Erin Busher, and they really miss her with her knee injury, but also the additions of Becky Hammon, Ruth Riley. I think that those have been extremely important to the improvement of their season.
And remember, Marie Ferdinand Harris, though, on the team last year and a returning player, sat out all of last year on maternity leave, so she did not play. So they really have retooled, and they're making some big-time noise. And now they can tie. Hammon again tries to get fancy, but is able to recover. Schumacher coming out to get her so she can't get a shot off. Ferdinand Harris around Schumacher. Can't get it. Rebound. Who else? Sophia Young. 15 points, 13 rebounds.
In watching her play, I just think of the line in the color purple. Sophia, Sophia, Sophia.
She is something.
She really is.
Double teamed, able to get it off. And Tangela Smith can't hang on to it. San Antonio has the ball as we check over now with Heather Cox, who's standing by with Cappy Pondexter.
And as I've been standing here with Cappy, she's been very animated. Cappy, what's frustrating you right now?
Nothing's frustrating me. We're still in the game. We're up 2 minutes to go. It's not bad. We're at home. We just got to turn the intensity up level a little bit more if we want to win.
Speaking of intensity, in the first half when we had a chance to chat, you said this is the most intense game you've ever been around. Describe it.
I mean, every player is hustling. Everybody's going really hard. I mean, we're all working for something. One goal is to win a national WNBA championship, so that's what we're doing.
We'll let you get some well-deserved rest. Best of luck to you. Pam?
Thank you very much, Heather. And don't tell Cappy this, but they're not at home. They're on the road in San Antonio playing. I know she's all fired up. As it's been a great crowd. There's over 14,000 people here. That's a terrific crowd for this franchise as Penny Taylor drives in. And Penny now has 16. Really, Carolyn, 14,592 folks. They're in the upper decks. They've opened it up, and people are sitting in watching great basketball.
All the way up on the very top row.
Good support. They had a good crowd for the clinching win against Sacramento a couple of days ago. And they're showing up again. If you win, they will come. Shot clock expires not before Becky Hammon gets off a shot.
Go, man!
But it rolls off the rim. Taurasi to Mazzani. And that one goes into Kelly Schumacher's hands, and she can't get the follow. That was a gift, and she blew it.
But guess who got the rebound, Pam?
Was it Sophia?
Sophia got that board.
Hammon losing the ball out of bounds, but San Antonio hangs on to it with 15 seconds left in the shot clock. On the shot clock. WNBA playoffs, game 1 of the best-of-3 Western Conference Finals. A great one as anticipated. San Antonio trailing Phoenix by 4, and there is that crowd. Over 14,500 folks packing into the AT&T Center in San Antonio.
And I believe these fans, they believe, after they saw what San Antonio did to Sacramento, believe that this team has every opportunity or potential to win a WNBA championship.
Already got an NBA title with the Spurs. Hammon drives it home. She has 10 in this quarter, and it's only a 2-point ball game. Make it 4. You got to find out where 23 is and hang with her. Pondexter.
Well, one of the things I think San Antonio needs to do as soon as the ball comes in, put pressure on the ball handler and take her vision away before she can advance the ball.
Hammon for 3 over the Camille Little screen. Becky has 20. And it's a 1-point ball game. Many of the fans getting on their feet as we approach 30 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
Well, you look for Penny Taylor to screen and pop, trying to work the 2-man game.
Pondexter over Little, misses. Schumacher gives it to Taylor. Kick it out to Mazzani for 3. Doesn't miss many of them. She has 3 threes in this game. Shot clock is off.
Well, Phoenix has gone rover man on Becky Hammon. She's the one they don't want to take the last shot.
They get Crossley 4 steps, and with 6.9 seconds left, Phoenix can build on this 4-point lead. Defensive substitution, Crossley goes out, and Helen Darling comes in for San Antonio.
Phoenix has the luxury of, you get an offensive rebound and kick out, and the 3-point shot's like a putback.
Schumacher for 2. Not exactly the person you would want to take the shot from well out there. So Becky Hammon with a great third quarter, 20 points overall, 13 in the quarter, as the Mercury take a 4-point lead to the fourth.
Conference finals.
8 of 20 from the floor, 3 for 10 from 3-point range. She hit a couple of threes in the third quarter. Phoenix led by 3 at the half, and they lead by 4 as we head to the fourth. Foul as Young gets in on Pondexter, who is very aggressive to the hoop.
Well, Phoenix is so hard to guard, especially on an on-ball screen. You've got to switch it because there's nobody that can leave their person to go help, because you have so many perimeter players that are spotting up ready outside the arc.
Pondexter, one of 3 members of the Mercury, averaging over 20 points a game in the playoffs coming in with that 2-game sweep over Seattle. During the regular year, 8th in the league in scoring and 10th in assists. And she has been great from the free throw line, has 15 points tonight. And the lead is up to 6.
Vicky Johnson's got to do a better job of coming off that on-ball screen, get into the middle of the zone, in the middle of the lane, in order to open up the shooters from the outside. But Hammon's finding her way.
She is finally starting to look like Becky Hammon, 23 points on the night. And with 21 seconds left on the shot clock, Phoenix does hang on to it. Detroit and Indiana will play in game 1 of their best-of-3 series in Indianapolis on Friday. That's tomorrow night on ESPN2, 8 Eastern. Indiana with a WNBA record by coming back from 22 points down in game 3 against Connecticut to win it in overtime. Tamika Catchings, 30 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists.
Well, when you have Tamika Catchings back on the floor, recovered from that injury, but you also have the excitement of Deanna Nolan for Detroit.
And
She's
Deanna Nolan,
special.
right? Deanna and Katie Smith, when they needed them in crunch time in game 3 against New York, it was those 2 veterans who came up large.
And they also have Cheryl Ford back on the floor,
which kept them in the game, and then the 2 veterans closed it out. Pondexter against Darling and Helen fouls her. Cappy's going back to the free throw line. For more on Tamika Catchings and her health, let's go over to Heather Cox.
Well, I had a chance to talk to her. As you guys know, she's missed over a month with that broken foot. She said she's still only about 80%, but she said, I realize how important my presence is to my team. I will do everything I can to be on the court. Interestingly, she's only wearing tennies when she's on the court, still wearing that walking boot 100% of the time when she's off the court. So certainly not the Catchings that we expect, but hard to believe she still had 30 in that game, you know, that final game.
Yeah.
She's just playing great even though she's hurt.
And 80% of Tamika Catchings is better than 100% of most people as she's coming back from the torn plantar fascia in the bottom of her foot. And well, you know how we feel about Catchings.
She's a great player, and it's not just her numbers that show up, points, rebounds, but it's that fight, that heart that she plays with that I think her team has missed in her absence.
Missed 19 games during the regular season. Largest lead right now, 7 points for the Mercury. Donna Crossley back on the court. Hammon with an NBA 3.
She was too close before. She's got to take that step back.
Becky Hammon now with 26, 5 for 12 beyond the arc. Taurasi crashes to the floor, and a foul is called against San Antonio.
Check this out. She may have missed some shots in the first half because she was too close. She's got to back up a step. Nice.
Shauna Crossley called for her first personal foul as Becky Hammon has 26 points, 19 of them in the second half.
I think Becky Hammon has shown why she has received votes as a potential MVP candidate. Good box out on Tangela Smith right there.
Smith called for going over the back of Becky Hammon. Tangela at 6'4", Becky listed at 5'6". She's more like 5'4", and it's a 4-point lead. Hammon has scored the last 9 points for San Antonio, all from 3.
She spreads things out on the perimeter. That'll open things up for Camille Little and Sophia Young inside.
And Little is fouled underneath by Phoenix. And on the left, there's Donna Orender, the president of the WNBA. And also, that's what, Kathy Harston, the former Texas assistant.
You know what I'm trying to say?
And who's that in the orange, in the burnt orange?
Gail Gestencourt.
You got it.
The new coach.
The new head coach at the University of Texas. Austin's only about an hour away. Taurasi called for her second foul. There's Gail. Good to see her again as she leaves Duke and goes over to Texas. Mickey DeMoss is on her staff, right?
I don't know what she was thinking. No, I think that's a great hire, having Mickey DeMoss on her staff.
Gail's going to do great things down there, taking over for the legendary Jody Conrad, who is enjoying a well-deserved retirement. Jody's playing a lot of golf these days and showing out in Austin, and now Gail Gestencourt is in the bright hot spotlight in Austin. Oh boy, Tangela Smith right down the middle.
Well, Phoenix has 2 shooters out in the corner in transition. San Antonio's got to be matched up as soon as the ball is inbounded. Find their person. Too late there. Tangela Smith comes down the middle.
More Phoenix Mercury players in double figures. Vicky Johnson rims out. Rebound off Taurasi. Yes, Phoenix tips it out, so San Antonio gets the basketball.
Well, down low, there's 2 shooters out wide. San Antonio does not do a good job of getting matched early. They've got to slow the ball down, take away the vision of the passer.
5-point lead. San Antonio trying to chip into it. Taurasi on Hammon, big height advantage for Diana. Hammon steps back over Miller, in and out. Rebound taken down by Penny Taylor. Outlet to Mazzani. And she waits for some more purple jerseys. This is Phoenix team with Ann Myers-Drysdale, her first year as their general manager with the Renaissance. Taylor bumping into Young, or to Camille Little, excuse me, and that's an offensive foul on the Aussie. 3 on Penny Taylor.
Well, they tried to run an on-ball screen up top, allowing their 4-player to drive to the basket. Good help by Camille Little.
And there's Ann Myers-Drysdale, and our former colleague of ours at ESPN, one of the classiest people you'd ever want to meet. Well, and how happy are we for her?
Oh, thrilled for her. And you know what? She had the guts to trade the first-round draft pick, and look at what it's done for the Phoenix Mercury.
Tangela Smith called for the foul. There was some heat when Annie traded away. They did have the first overall pick, traded it away to Minnesota. We got Lindsey Harding, and it was straight up Tangela Smith basically for the first-round pick or Lindsey Harding, and you really like that deal.
I think it's a great deal, especially for the style of play that Phoenix Mercury has. And I talked to Paul Westhead, and he said in that spot they wanted a veteran post player and one that could run the floor, and they got exactly what they wanted when they got Tangela Smith.
And Lindsey Harding just got a shot on her, the player who was on her way. She was going to be Rookie of the Year until she tore her ACL for Minnesota.
Well, and no knock on Phoenix not wanting Lindsey Harding, but when they acquired Kelly Miller, they didn't need another point guard. So it was just a matter of making the changes, doing a little switching to get exactly what they needed.
It's paid off as they win the finals for the first time since 2000, and Diana Taurasi only 6 points here, or 5 points here in the second half. That was a 3. So just when they make a run, it leads back up to 7. Young to Johnson. The lefty takes it left. Oh, Sophia Young there for the foul. The The putback, she's heading to the line.
Well, the Stars have taken Young away from the basket. Other players are shooting the basketball, and then Young is crashing the boards and able to get to the free throw line. Opportunity for a three-point play.
3 fouls on Cappy Pondexter. Sophia Young, 17 points and 15 rebounds for San Antonio. There you see the numbers. Yet another double-double for Sophia. She only had 3 of them during the regular season, which is astounding. You think she'd have a heck of a lot more. I'm predicting next year she'll have a lot more than 3 double-doubles.
Oh, absolutely. She's going to continue to get better, and as hard as she works in the offseason, and maybe she'll learn to drive a stick shift, too.
Yeah, she had trouble with that. Tried to learn it in Europe, and from what we hear, didn't go so well.
Well, she plays on the offseason on a team with Deanna Nolan, so that's another great player to play with.
Penny Taylor whistled for the foul. 4 personals on Penny Taylor.
Reach over doesn't mean you foul. Doesn't mean it's a foul.
Paul Westhead protesting that last call. 5 team fouls now against Phoenix, 3 against San Antonio. So the 5, you put them in the bonus, and Sophia Young heads to the free throw line. So 5 team fouls and still 6:06 left to go in this game as Young has 19. Phoenix with the big 3 that we've talked about, Taurasi, Taylor, and Pondexter. It's been the big 2 for the Silver Stars.
Well, and those are the big 2 that have been carrying this team through the playoffs. Becky Hammon does such a great job in leading this team from the point guard position. Her ability to score and pass. And then you can't say enough about Sophia Young, an undersized post player that seems to be able to sneak in, score over some of the tallest players, and grab her share of the rebounds.
Boy, that was a big shot from Tangela Smith. 3-pointer makes it a 5-point lead again. Ruth Riley gets 2 of them right back. Ruth with 13, but her first here in the second half. And a foul as Penny Taylor drives to the basket, stops the clock with 5:36 left to go.
We talked about Tangela Smith being acquired in the trade. Is she exactly what they needed? I think so. And then you've got Ruth Riley on the other side, another acquisition and a trade. She's been great for San Antonio.
Fans enjoying this nail-biter. Phoenix leading San Antonio 87-84 with about 5.5 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. And Carolyn Peck, we've already had 5 of these playoff games this year decided by 5 points or less. Looks like we're headed towards another one.
Oh, I think so, and I think that shows the parity in this league. There are so many talented players that have fought to get themselves in this position of the playoffs, and big-time players make big-time plays, and that's happening right now.
We've seen it on both sides of the ball, but what do you expect now here in the last 5.5 minutes?
Well, it's going to be important that San Antonio try to stop exactly what Phoenix is trying to do and getting the ball down the floor quickly. They've got to find the ball as soon as it comes in bounds, or at least slow it up and even deny it, not allow it inbounds, and their players have got to get matched up quickly. I would look for Phoenix to continue to go to Penny Taylor. She's doing a good job of attacking and penetrating in. That's making the defense collapse inside, and we know about the great perimeter shooters that they have outside with Diana Taurasi and Cappy Pondexter.
Penny Taylor has 18, Cappy Pondexter 17, Tangela Smith 17, and Diana Taurasi 18. So the big 3 has turned into the big 4 with 17 points from Tangela Smith. Hammon, another long 3. That one bounces around, and Tangela Smith, the wily veteran, picks it up.
This is what San Antonio wants to do, make Phoenix play in the half court.
Ball game. With just over 5 minutes left to go in the game, Heather Cox was eavesdropping on the Phoenix huddle.
Indeed I was, and Paul Westhead talked about this team needing to explode. He said that's the way we're going to win, by running. Then he switched it to defense and said we have to find a way to challenge Becky Hammon. 26 points in this game, guys. You'll notice Diana Taurasi, the rover on her right now. What I find is interesting is Paul Westhead told me before the game, everybody says Becky Hammon is the MVP. Well, I think Becky Hammon is the most valuable nightmare. And right now, this is a team trying to find a way to stop her. CP, how do you think they can do it?
Well, they go their rover man. They got to have somebody that stays with her, almost like a box and one. And I would not let her touch the ball. Keep her from catching it, because if you do, she is a player that can definitely make plays. She showed that, Heather, in Game 3.
Push him, Kelly. Next time down.
We got more great games coming your way tomorrow night. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Indianapolis as Detroit takes on Tamika Catchings and Company at 8 Eastern. Saturday, NBA TV, Game 2 of this series at 7 Eastern. Then on ABC Sunday, Eastern Conference Finals Game 2, Indiana in Auburn Hills at 1 Eastern. And ESPN2 later Sunday, and if necessary, Game 3, San Antonio at Phoenix coming up on Sunday. Carolyn Peck heading back to Phoenix, where you have become like the mayor of that town.
Well, I have. I've taken up residence in the Ritz-Carlton.
That's not a bad game.
It's not.
We've got a great finish heading our way here. 5-point lead for the Mercury inside of 5 minutes, and San Antonio with the ball. Long pass, Marie Ferdinand Harris with 4 seconds left on the shot clock to Vicki Johnson. Somebody's got to shoot. Ferdinand Harris does. And at least one too many passes on that possession. Nice touch pass. Taylor back to Pondexter, and that hurts.
Get back. They got back 3-on-1. Had Kelly Miller and Penny Taylor down to join Kathy Pondexter in transition.
36 fast break points for Phoenix, 1 for San Antonio. And the lead is 7. 7-2 Phoenix run to get some breathing room. Ferdinand Harris lowers her shoulder, ball skips over to Sophia Young, who has 22 points to go along with her 16 rebounds. Diana Taurasi, you know, when you need a big shot, she showed it in college at Connecticut. Here's her first opportunity. This is the first time she's been in the playoffs in 4 seasons in this league, and she's still a big-time money player.
Well, at the end of the series against Seattle, one of their announcers said the last time the Phoenix Mercury were in the playoffs, Diana Taurasi was getting her driver's license.
Yeah, and that's true. And here they are, Becky Hammon, 14 three-point attempts. That is a new WNBA playoff record. She has 29 points. And a 6-point game. Kelly Miller goes inside and hurts you. Miller with 10.
Straight one-on-one defense.
Lead back up to 6. Riley mismatch with Miller on her, but she gets it inside to Young. And Tangela Smith coming up with the big rebound for the Mercury. 6-point lead. Most teams would slow the ball down in this instance, but Phoenix Mercury are not most teams. Ball goes over to San Antonio.
Well, Phoenix is like poetry in motion when they're running in transition. As soon as the shot is missed, Pondexter is running. She's got Kelly Miller and Penny Taylor running with them. Their superstar for San Antonio was trying to keep the stars in the game. Becky Hammon needs to do a whole lot more.
Diana Taurasi and Becky Hammon with the shootout today, but Taurasi's team is winning. Becky Hammon with a new career playoff high, 6 threes, as the Phoenix Mercury, high scoring. They're averaging 98 points per game in their first 2 playoff wins against Seattle, and they're well on their way to that again tonight. And in this 1-2 playoff format, San Antonio loses here, Carolyn. They're going to have to win both games on the road to win this series. That is a tough, tough task.
And I have been in Phoenix, and they are very good at home. It's loud there, the crowd gets on their side, and I think that they would surely be able to demonstrate that home court advantage that the higher seed has.
It's almost a must-win for them here at home, as they're going to get an opportunity off the Pondexter miss, and we head into the 2-minute mark. Hammon with the miss, Tangela Smith with the rebound for Phoenix. Phoenix with a 6-point lead, and now this is slow-down basketball for them, which you very rarely see with this club.
Well, and it's something that they did in Game 3 against Seattle, and Seattle was able to chop away at the lead and make it a close game at the end. They're not very comfortable playing in a half-court set.
Yeah, we've had so many close games. We've talked about 5 games decided by 5 points or fewer already in the playoffs. But we've had some blown leads as well. The only home team to lose is Seattle, and that was against Phoenix in Game 1 of that series. And right now, Phoenix is a minute 44 away from making it 2. So the Silver Stars have to make up 6 points in the next minute 44. Game 1 of the Western Drysdale, the GM of Phoenix, very nervous, looking on as her team is up by 6 with a minute 44 left to go here in game 1. Paul Westhead breaking his huddle for Phoenix as they try to hang on to this lead and go home with a 1-game-to-none lead in this best-of-3 series. And Dan Hughes sitting on the bench, hoping for a comeback for San Antonio.
Well, and he's put Shauna Crosley in the game to get another 3-point shooter out there. I'd look for him to go for the long ball. He's got a minute 44, needs to get a stop right here and go down and score. Probably drew up something to get a 3-point shot, and then got to play terrific defense down the stretch.
Penny Taylor just gets one off as the shot clock expires, and that is a very large offensive rebound for Phoenix.
Well, if Phoenix is using the shot clock, it's on their side. Going to look for Pondexter to go one-on-one.
Crosley not a good defender, and Pondexter takes it right to her. And the rebound, terrific play by Camille Little to save it into Sophia Young. Becky Hammon wants it on the wing. And then airballs it out. Hammon has been so good here in the second half after going 3 for 10 from the floor, 1 for 6 from threes in the first half. Has a new Silver Star playoff record, 29 points in this game, but that one wasn't close.
Well, and that's a shot that they wanted to get that 3, and if there's anybody you want taking that shot, it would be Becky Hammon.
She has already set a WNBA record with 3-point attempts in this game, and that attempt was air. Pondexter again, loving that matchup, Phoenix is, and Pondexter that time does score on Crosley. Cappy now with 21 points. Largest lead of the game is 8 points.
Well, and San Antonio cannot sit back when they're on defense and just let Pondexter hold the basketball. They've got to put some pressure, make them have to take some shots.
Crosley can get you 3 back in a hurry. That's her first basket of the night. Lead is 5. And then Crosley fouls Pondexter. Neither team with any fouls to give, so the free throws now for Phoenix.
Well, they had to foul or bring a trap. They can't let Pondexter just walk the ball down and use time off the clock.
Pondexter is a very good free throw shooter, 6 for 7 tonight. 14 for 14 heading into this series. So that's 20 for 21, now 21 for 22 overall. Not exactly who you wanted to send to the line in this situation, but beggars can't be choosers when you got to stop the clock.
Well, and I think that San Antonio needs to do a better job of extending their defense, going for the steal in the full court instead of waiting till she gets across half court.
Pondexter over 20 points for the 3rd time in as many playoff games this season and in her career. Young over Taylor. She's able to go up, hesitate, and put it in off glass. 24 for Sophia Young. Crosley picks up her 3rd personal foul as they stop the clock with 19.8 seconds left, and Phoenix about to hit the century mark. They already hit the century mark, game 1 against Seattle, winning 101-84. And this would make 2 in 1 playoff series. Only twice in the history of WNBA playoffs has a team hit 100 points before tonight. And Pondexter just 1 free throw away from making it 2 out of 3 games for Phoenix this season.
Well, when you look at San Antonio lost game 1 in the series against Sacramento, and yes, it was in Sacramento on the road, but they've also shown that they can bounce back from a loss. After losing game 1, can they bounce back when they go to Phoenix to take game 2?
Both of our head coaches are wearing microphones. We will listen in. Very important huddles now with 19
try to shoot the 3.
What do you think about scoring the 3 and trapping immediately? Just pick up and let's trap right now. Make them throw or foul out of that. We might get something.
Yeah, but otherwise we're going to foul straight away.
Yeah, if you don't get the trap, we're going to foul.
It's going to be somebody close to us.
Try to get Shauna 3 here.
Yeah.
Get Shauna down here.
Yeah.
Backside. You play Becky Hammon. You 2 play on top. So this is you, Kelly. This is you, Dee. and just read Crossley. All right, now, but more important, no foul. So if they get a shot, I mean, I wasn't a contest, but we're not fouling the shooter. One, that stops the clock, and two, it gets them to the line. They might get 3 or 4 on us. So, all right, so you're going to get right up in the shooter, try and get over high enough that they have to back cut you. Now listen, on the make, we only have 2 20s. Don't worry about that. Take it out, and it's Kelly and Cappy right here. So read Kelly or Cappy.
Let's take a look now at the Kohler bold move of the game, and it was Pondexter on Crossley a moment ago.
Well, they go a 1-4 flat. Pondexter does a good job. There's nothing Crossley can do on that. If Camille Little were to step up to stop her, that would leave a drop pass down low. She played it the best she could. It's hard to stop a great player.
Dan Hughes looking for a 3 from Crossley, and she's fouled. Diana Taurasi with the cardinal sin, fouling a 3-point shooter, so Shauna Crossley's going to get 3 free throws.
And Paul West had just talked about do not foul shooters. It's not a good, that's not a smart defensive play there, especially on a 3-point shooter. You know she's going up. You've got to close out, but you don't want to foul a 3-point shooter.
Crossley now with an opportunity to cut this lead in half with the clock stopped, which is perfect if you're a San Antonio fan or player. She's 90% free throw shooter during the regular season. Set a single season and career free throw percentage record at Tennessee. So this is the last player you want on the line. Helen Darling coming back in for Becky Hammon.
And I would look, if she makes this free throw, Paul Westhead could call timeout and advance the ball, because if he takes it out on the baseline, gives San Antonio an opportunity to trap, press, and possibly force a turnover.
Crossley 3 for 3 from the line, so the lead is only 3 with 15.1 seconds left. And a timeout is indeed taken by Phoenix. Both teams, or each team I should say, has 1 timeout left. And again, already 5 games decided by 5 points or fewer in these WNBA playoffs, and we're working on another one.
Deny everybody out of there. Now look, if we get a steal down here, call timeout. We're going to advance the ball. Here we go. Start going 3. 1, 2, 3.
Put the defensive pressure on.
Come all the way to the ball, Penny. So you don't get deep. You're going to get Penny coming right to you. And if you don't like it, we have a 20.
Defense, 1, 2, 3, defense.
Here you see the reset. Nobody has any fouls to give. 1 20-second timeout apiece. San Antonio has to stop Phoenix here. Phoenix with the ball. Brian Agler and Dan Hughes trying to draw up something to pull this win out, or at least get it to overtime. Taurasi goes down, and the ball goes over to San Antonio. Diana Taurasi losing her footing, and with 11.2 seconds left, San Antonio calls its final timeout as they'll try to tie this game.
Well, Camille Little, I think Taurasi carried the ball to start with, and then slid the ball out of bounds.
And Becky Hammon goes to check back in. Get the 3-point shooter out there. She is 6 for 15 from 3 today. The 15 attempts, a WNBA playoff record.
One more look right there. All right? It's down 2. No timeout. No timeout. Start on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Dan Hughes wanted the ball in the hands of Becky Hammon, so I believe that she's going to be the person that's going to get the shot here to end the game.
She already has a career playoff high 29 points. And if she gets 32, we're going to overtime.
Now, the other thing that could happen as well is Hammon goes up for the shot. We know that Sophia Young is a great offensive rebounder. How about it, Sophia, offensive rebound, and Phoenix would have foul her.
Young has a WNBA playoff record, 8 offensive rebounds, 18 boards overall.
Going to see Phoenix go to an unusual man-to-man. They normally are in a zone.
Let's go back now to the end of Game 3 against Sacramento. Hammon with the picture-perfect pass to Vicki Johnson. And that's your game winner, as they were able to pull it out 80-78. But right now they need 3 points, 11.2 seconds left. Hammon battling with Pondexter, gets it over the Johnson screen for the tie. She hits it! 2.4 seconds left. And so Becky Hammon hits the game-tying shot.
They got to check the clock to see if there's time left.
The officials discussing whether or not, I believe there was a foul called at the end. There's definitely a three-point attempt that's made to tie the game.
Well, great handoff, Vicki Johnson. Becky Hammon back behind the screen, long ball.
Seven threes for Becky Hammon ties a WNBA playoff record set by Mawadi Mabika for Los Angeles 7 years ago. She has 32 points.
I think the officials are looking at the score clock.
And they are indeed looking to see if a foul was called. The foul was called. The question was, when was it called? Boy, Crossley reaching in, and Lisa Mattingly, that is one heck of a tough call to make in this situation. I didn't see the foul.
Well, and did the foul happen when the ball was out of bounds? Shauna Crossley, she goes to find Pondexter, ball's in, call the foul. Looks like there's about 1.7 on the clock.
There definitely is enough time left.
This is going to be big.
Bob Trammell talking to folks over at the scorer's table. But Lisa Mattingly made that call. And that's tough. 2.1 seconds left on the clock. And Cappie Pondexter, who is 9 for 11 from the free throw line tonight, has an opportunity to win this game. Brian Agler and Paul Westhead talking with Bob Trammell.
It can't be 2.1.
And this game tied up at 100.
Wow.
She only needs to hit one.
We've seen this situation before. We just talked about at halftime. Nancy talked to Lindsey Harding about Janelle McCarville.
McCarville needed to make 2 to send that game into overtime. Into another overtime, the decisive game 3 between Detroit and New York. Janelle hit 1 of 2. Pondexter only needed to hit 1. No timeouts for either team. So San Antonio needs a miracle shot. Crossley was called for the foul. Can she give them the win? Oh! Just off the back rim, and Phoenix wins it 102 to 100. The 102 points, the second most ever scored in a WNBA playoff game. And that is a heartbreaking loss for San Antonio.
Oh, man. Yeah, Shauna Crossley had the presence of mind, knowing that she's got to launch it, give herself enough time. Just a little strong, but it had the distance, and it was almost there. Makes your heart skip a beat. Looks like it had a chance.
Cappy Pondexter hits the game-winning free throw. She's standing by with Heather Cox.
And still cool as a cucumber. Cappy, how on earth did you make probably the biggest free throw of your life?
I just thought about when practice is over, how many times I knocked the shot down continuously. I just stayed positive and knocked it down. We needed the win.
Describe your emotions first on the Diana turnover, then on the Becky three, and then having new life with 2 seconds left.
Well, when Becky hit the three, I kind of knew it was going in. She's a big-time player. I had no idea that Crossley would come and foul. She fouled, knocked the 2 free throws. We're going home with a win, so I'll take it.
How much confidence does a win on the road give you as you head back to Phoenix?
Knowing that it's a short series, it gives us a lot of confidence, knowing that we are 1 game away from winning a Western Conference champ. So we have a lot of confidence right now.
Congratulations. Go celebrate. Let's smile, Cappy.
I'm happy.
All right.
All right, Heather, she coaxed the smile.